Let's go ahead and start recording. All right, here we go. So I have two Comp 1 classes, and so what I'll do is one of those two Comp 1 classes, I will upload the video from one of those two. So you're not having to watch two Comp 1 classes. I'll be uploading one of those videos every week and that you can watch, and it'll just be a review of what we talked about. It's going to be the same for both Comp 1 classes. So maybe I might have a better joke in one Comp 1 class than the other. I don't know. I'm not probably telling very good jokes anyway. But the point is, each week you're going to have a recording of one of these meetings so that you can go back and watch it. And then that way, if you miss, for some reason you miss one of these meetings, or if for some reason you're like, you know what, I got distracted, or my cat, turned off the computer or something like that, it's okay. You can always watch this every week or watch it multiple times if you're like, what did he say about that? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and upload all of these each week so that you can watch them. But anyway, having said that, welcome. My name is Professor Coomer, and this is English 101. We're doing a virtual class. So this is 100% virtual. We will never physically meet. It's crazy. It's crazy. But we're never going to physically meet. So it is completely virtual, which means there are some changes that are going to have to take place when it comes to what it says in the syllabus here. And I'm going to cover that. Let's go over the syllabus. Before I do that, I'm going to go to, let's see, I've got a million things. Can you see, you can see my screen, right? It's like a YouTube video thing, right? Okay, great. All right, so if we go to venue.edu, I just want to make sure everybody knows how to log in, and you probably do, but if you don't, this is how to do it. You go to MyVU, and well, let's see here. You have to put in your password, so you, and then it comes to this, and here is the MyVU, and then it goes. You go to University Systems, and you go to Blackboard, and that's how you're going to find everything in our class. It's so important that you can find Blackboard today. Just always make sure that you can access Blackboard. So this is where everything's going to be. So if you go, you'll see where it says English Composition 1, you click there, and you'll go into, this is our Blackboard course. Now, every week I'm going to have announcements. So on the home page, make sure to look at the announcements, because like, for instance, I'll have, like I've already put the Zoom invitation that we're, like today's Zoom invitation is there. Next week's Zoom invitation will be there. So, Monday, you can just go to the Blackboard page, click on this, and it'll take you to the Zoom that we're going to be doing. Also, I have a thing where it says things to do by midnight on, in this case, August 21st. And I'm going to explain all the things that are on this list here in a minute. But the nice thing is I'm trying to at least say each week, hey guys, this is what we're doing. And by Friday night by midnight, you should at least have all of this completed. Sometimes you'll hand stuff in by Friday night at midnight. Sometimes it's just, I want you to make sure you've read this one article by that time, or I want to make sure you've at least looked at this thing by midnight Friday. That way we're all on the same page. Of course, obviously, I'm sure you have better things to do on a Friday night. So I would suggest doing them before midnight, but at least by midnight, Friday night, everyone should have these whatever things accomplished. Now, as you can see, the list is pretty short. And this week, the big thing I want you to do, I want you to be thinking about really feeling out this classroom. And I know that doesn't sound very fun, but at least look around, and so you know where things are put, okay? Because every professor is going to put things in a different way. I've organized this class so that it makes sense to me, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be obvious where everything is for you. So, just look around, make sure you know where things are put, and I'll be showing you the vast majority of it today anyway. So anyway, today we're going to talk about the syllabus first. So if you click on where it says syllabus and schedule, and you click the fall 2020 syllabus and schedule, it'll download. I already had mine up. I've got like a million files up right now. It's crazy. Okay, here we go. So this is the syllabus. This is English 101, and you are either in 033 or 034. Those are the two sections right now. And this is virtual, so I do not have any office hours as far as in an office, but I do have office hours, and I am happy to answer your questions if you have them. So the way to get a hold of me is through my email. So because my office phone number is in my office, and actually the humanities were moving, and it's kind of a crazy story. So the best way to get a hold of me is via email, which I will check periodically throughout every single day. And that is jcoomer@venue.edu. My office hours. So even though I don't have a physical office that I can sit there and wait for you to walk in the door, I will try to make sure that I'm available between the hours of 8 and 9 every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then between the hours of 1 and 2 every Tuesday and Thursday. Now, I'll tell you this, there will be some days that I just am not available during my regular office hours. But those are the office hours that I'm going to really try to make sure 9 times out of 10, I'm available. Now, having said that, you can't just knock on my door and say, hey, Professor Coomer, it's 8:30, I want to talk to you. So how do you get a hold of me? The best thing to do is email me and make an appointment. So try to think ahead. So email me and say, Professor Coomer, are you available at 8:15 or 8:30 on Wednesday morning? I'd like to talk to you. And I'll say, sure, as long as I don't have something else planned during that time. And I will send you a Zoom invite, and you and I can have a Zoom call face to face, and I can answer any questions that you have. And believe me, I really want to answer your questions. I want to make sure this is a good semester for you. And obviously, you know, the better prepared you are to hand in homework, the easier it is for me to grade. So we both win if you know what you're doing. So those are the office hours, and maybe it's last minute. And so if it's last minute, it might be that maybe I don't get your email. I might be in a session talking to somebody. If like at 8 a.m. you email me, hey, can I talk to you? But always, you know, it's okay to try. The best thing I want you to do though is if you email me, make sure to tell me, first of all, in the email, what your name is, what class you're in, what time the class normally meets, and then tell me what you'd like to talk to me about, okay? Make sure I know those things going into it. If you just email me and say, can I talk to you? It could just be some random weirdo out there, right? Because you know, I don't know if you've ever gotten weird emails or texts or something like that. It's like, I don't know if I want to answer this. But if you tell me, hey, Professor Coomer, my name is this. I'm, you know, I'm in this class that I'm taking this class with you. It normally meets around this time. And this is the question I have. This is, or at least the topic I'd like to talk to you about. Then I'm 100% sure, great, let's talk. And it makes it easier for me and for you. Okay, moving on. So in this course, you can take a look at a lot of these things. I'm going to kind of just summarize. This is Comp 1. Every student in the country has to take Comp 1 for just about every degree that there is. The purpose for Comp 1 is to make you a better communicator, or at least to put you at a level where you can communicate at a college level. So this is definitely a written format that we're going to be using, so reading and writing. But it's also something, if you're better at reading and writing, you're generally going to be a better communicator in general. And so what this class is, it's a skills class. You can't really, you know, there's a lot of classes you can cram for a test and things like that. It's not that way with writing. And you know, I always had troubles with math. So, you know, actually I had troubles with everything. To be honest, okay, just being honest here, I was not a very good student. And so what I did find is that, and I was terrible at English. Grammar was awful. So if grammar is your Achilles heel, we are friends in that way. Okay. So believe me, I get it. But what I found was that if I just, you know, if I kind of tolerate the frustration and if I spend the time, it takes a lot of time and effort, but the more you actually dive into it face first, generally the better it became. And now I teach it. So it's something that all of these things are skills things. You can't cram for them. They are things that after a while you can actually get better. And yes, I know not everybody looks at English and says, hooray. I get that. But this is something that no matter what field you go into, you're going to need to be able to communicate proficiently. And that is the goal of this class. So I don't know if that was a summary or if I made it longer than it had to be, but I just wanted to give you an idea of what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to scroll quite a bit through here. You can read this if you'd like, But let's go down to the textbooks. So we already talked, a couple of people talked about when do we need to make sure we have the textbooks. So the university, the rule that the university has is that by the end of week 2, you should have all of your textbooks. And so, yes, that would be ideal. I know that it's not always the case. So in my class, the way it works is that the first essay, we don't really need the textbook. But every other essay is required. And not only is it required, there's really no way to do the essay if you don't have the textbook. And that's because the essays, the material that we're writing about, it comes directly from the textbook. So make sure to get the textbook. Now, let me show you the textbook for the class. This is the textbook. It's the inquiry. So from inquiry to academic writing, a text and reader. This one is the one to get, guys, okay? Out of all the ones, if for some reason you're running low on money and you can only get one book, you got to get this one because it's really important. It's got the required readings in there. Now, there's also the Writer's Handbook. This is a very helpful book. This is something that you'll use not only in Comp 1, but also in Comp 2. And it has, basically, it's a reference book. So later on in the class, we're going to be learning how to use MLA format, citation, things like that. And whenever we do that, you can always look back into this book and it'll give you all the guides and references and things like that that you need. So these are the 2 main books. Again, this book right here is the one that is, you got to have it. You just got to have it, folks. So make sure to get it. Welcome to those of you who just got here. I appreciate you being here. If you missed something, make sure you can always, I'm going to upload this video later today so you can watch what you missed. We had a quick question. The name of the textbook again, I didn't catch that. So if you take a look, I'm going to highlight it on the screen. This is it. It's in your syllabus too. So if you go to the syllabus and under course and text, or the course text and materials policy, it's right there. From inquiry to academic writing, a text and reader. The workbook, we're really not going to use in Comp 1. So the question, Anasha, and I apologize. Guys, I apologize if I mispronounce your name. I can normally see your face whenever I mispronounce it. If we're face to face, you're like, nah, it's not it, Professor Coomer. And so I apologize if I mispronounce your name. But no, you won't need that.
It's Nasha.
I'm sorry?
It's Nasha.
Nasha?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I just literally left the bookstore and got this book. I don't know if they're going to allow me to take it back or not, though.
They should if you do it today and you kept your receipt.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks.
No problem. Let's see. The bookstore was out of stock with the handbook. Okay, yeah, that's it may be out of stock for a while. Again, we won't be using it till the second half of the semester. So if you need to get that, that is a book that you can get later. But make sure as soon as you possibly can, go ahead and get the inquiry textbook. Okay. Having said that, let's talk a little bit about how you're going to get your grade in this class. So, all right. So we've got quizzes, homework, and exercises. We've got critical readings and short writings. So a lot of this stuff is going to be, are you doing your readings that I require you to do? And are you doing the, essentially getting the homework in on time? So if you take a look at quizzes, homework, and exercises, we don't really have a lot of quizzes. We will have some homework, and most of this is going to be the writing process. And I'm going to teach you all about that next week. But we're going to be using the writing process, and we're going to have an assignment for each part of the writing process. Critical readings and short writings, we're going to summarize 8 readings this semester, okay? So 8 readings, and each of those readings will have something to do with the essay that we're writing. It's not just going to be some random reading that I'm like, you know, you should read that because it's really interesting. It's not like that. I'm going to have you do some readings. They'll have something to do with what you're writing. and you're going to need to summarize those readings. I'm going to show you that here in just a little bit. We're also going to do revision and reflection activities. So revision and reflection activities, basically every essay that we write, we are going to do a peer review. And what that means is you're going to have a rough draft that you share with the rest of the class, and you're going to look over somebody else's paper. You're going to look over two people's papers, and you're going to give them guidance. And the biggest thing I want you to think about now, of course, grammar and sentence structure, those things are important. They're never not going to be important. But really what I want you to think about is essentially, am I really communicating something to my audience? Is it something that is going to be received by the reader the way I meant it to be received? And of course, when you read someone else's writing, you're going to try to help them in making what they wrote be received well by the audience that they're writing to. So we're going to be doing that this semester. Then we have some essays. So we have the analysis essay and the argumentation essay. Those two essays are in the end of the semester. So they're worth a little bit more. They're worth 15% of your grade per essay. You're also going to be writing an annotated bibliography. And it sounds scary, but it's not. It really isn't that scary. It's not as scary as it sounds. It's something that I'm going to take you through. Again, I'm going to walk you through all of this one step at a time, and you shouldn't have a problem with this. I give you a really good example, and you can really use that to your benefit as well. Then we have the first two essays. The first two essays of the semester, they're worth 10% a piece. And the portfolio project is the last thing. So the portfolio project is basically a conglomeration of everything you've written. So all of the things you've already written, you're going to be asked to revise them and make them better. And of course, if they're already really awesome, your portfolio project is going to be super easy. But you're going to have to revise, at least try to revise your previous essays. And then you're going to write an essay about how you've grown as an author, how you've grown as a writer over this semester, how things have progressed. So as we go through this semester, I really want to invite you to just think about, your process. And, it might be frustrating, it might be time consuming, but really putting the time in on this class is going to help you benefit in a lot of other classes and just in life in general. So we've got course policies. So when it comes to attendance, this is going to be a little different than normal. Since this is a virtual classroom, we will be, basically the way I'm going to keep attendance is I'm going to make sure, as long as you're handing in all of your homework on time, then I'm going to consider you having just your attendance is fine. Okay, you'll have perfect attendance. You're handing everything in on time. If you're late or if you miss something, then I will have to, and I'm not doing it because I want to, but it's part of my job. I have to do the whole report thing. So I'll send you an attendance warning, right? And the way it works is if you're 2 weeks behind, I have to drop you. Okay, so if you're 2 weeks behind the class as far as your homework and assignments, I have to drop you from the class, and I don't want to do that. So don't put me in the position where I have to drop you. It's just something that we have to make sure that everyone, of course, is still with the course, and also it makes sure that the university knows that you're still alive and you're still wanting to go to the university. Also, we want to continue on. Let's see, as far as makeup work. When it comes to makeup work, the way this works is that your essays and your homework, they should be handed in on time. Your essays will be graded off a full letter grade for every day that you're late in handing in your assignment. Okay, so if you had an A and you handed it in 2 days late, that'd be down a B, down to a C. Okay, so that's 2 letter grades. So obviously, hand in things on time. But I will say this, even if you're super, super late handing something in, it's better to hand something in and get an F, which is a 50%, than get a 0%. Okay, so even if it's awful, terrible stuff, and it's like, man, I just really snoozed on this one, hand something in so that I don't have to give you a 0%, because a 50% is so much better than a 0. When it comes to your other homework, it is all expected to be handed in on time, and I will have to count off about 10% per day that it's late on those other homework assignments as well. So make sure everything's handed in on time, and you shouldn't have any problems at all. Technology. Okay, so when it comes to technology, of course, in this class, technology is everything. Normally, it's like, hey guys, keep your cell phones away, turned off. But now I'm just wanting to make sure that you're able to check in. Every week, I'm going to do a check-in like this. So every week on Monday at 1 o'clock, I'll do a Zoom call, just like this one. I always prefer watching a live Zoom call rather than watching something that's recorded. But I will also record this. I'm recording it right now, I believe, right? Am I recording? Yes, cool. I almost had a heart attack just there. So I'm always going to be recording these things so that you can watch them later if for some reason you had to miss the Monday check-in. But every Monday I'm going to try to do a check-in. So try to make sure you can make them to this. It's a great time to ask questions if you have them. And of course, it's a great way to keep up to date. Every week I'll tell you basically this is what we're doing this week. And that'll just keep us moving along smoothly. Now, when it comes to academic dishonesty, so this is where we talk about plagiarism or cheating in general. So first of all, there's many reasons why you shouldn't do this. One, of course, is that literally this is a skills class. So if you cheat through this class, you're not actually going to accumulate the skills that you should have learned in this class. And so the reason why people take this early in their college career is because later on they're going to look at your transcripts and they'll say, okay, this person's taking Comp 1, so they can handle this other class because they already understand all the things that were taught in Comp 1. And if you don't really understand those things, then you're going to really mess yourself up in those other classes. So obviously that's a bad thing. Also, of course, we want the skills so that we're a better communicator in our future career and in just regular life. In addition to that, I have incredibly awesome software, and it really is almost spooky how well this software works as far as finding plagiarism. So I've even had, I've had people like copy a sentence, just a single sentence off of a subreddit or off of like in the YouTube comments section or something like that, and it'll pick that up as well. So if it's on the internet, I'm sorry, it's going to I will find it. And it's not like I have to do anything. The software does it all. And so I'll be able to find it. And sadly enough, if I do catch you, even if it's a sentence out of a whole, maybe if you wrote a 4-page essay and one sentence was copied, then I have to give you a 0. Now, some of you guys are thinking, wait a minute, what if I just happen to write something and it happens to be on the internet too? Well, I've been doing this for many years. I'm almost 10 years now. I've been doing this, and I can tell the difference between a purposeful plagiarism and an accidental, it happenstance. I know the difference, and there's always a difference. Okay, so just make a deal with yourself right now. I'm not going to plagiarize. I'm going to do my work. I'm not going to, cheat off of somebody else or use somebody else's words. This also applies to your own words. So, for instance, this would also apply if you wrote an essay last year for a class and you handed in that essay to this class. Even if you wrote something, you can plagiarize yourself. Everything that you hand in to me should be fresh, new work that you've never done before, that no one else has done before. It should all be original work. So just make the decision right now to say, okay, I'm going to get through this class, and I'm not going to plagiarize. I'm not going to cheat. Okay, the disability services policy. So if I were you, I would just go ahead and read this. I'd like to just invite all of you to read this paragraph. And basically, if you have a disability or if you need an accommodation, I am unable to provide you that accommodation unless I get information through this office. So just go ahead and call that number, or you can click on that link and it'll take you to their website. And then that way I can provide you accommodations if necessary. Lastly, the standard of student behavior. So In a classroom setting, this can sometimes be difficult, but whenever we're doing Zoom, there's new etiquette out. So anytime we're in a Zoom meeting, please mute your microphone while I'm speaking. And if you have questions, it's okay to ask those questions in the chat box. But I would always prefer if you have specific questions, okay? If it's a specific question about your work, then I'd like you to just email me or request a Zoom meeting and we can talk face to face. So that way you're not cluttering up the chat box with something that doesn't apply to everybody else. However, if you have questions during the class, maybe, like for instance, what was the name of that book again? Pedro asked, hey, that's a great question. And probably somebody else had that same question too. And it's a nice thing that Pedro asked that question. Well, in that case, just go to the chat box and then type in your question, and then that'll be just fine. The big thing is we want to be professional in these Zoom meetings, and just in general, whenever we're, like for instance, we're also going to be doing peer review and things like that. So anytime we're interacting with each other, just be respectful, be kind. You don't have to tell a person that their essay is amazing if it's terrible, but don't say, hey, it's terrible, right? Just be kind enough to say, hey, there's some things you might need to work on, and maybe you want to take a look at your second paragraph. That one really needs maybe some work. Try to be kind, and we should be just fine. Again, I don't mind if you mute your microphone and you black out your screen. That's totally fine. Or you can show your face. I always like seeing your smiles, but just always remember to keep it just to keep it respectful to everybody as we go about this. All right. Having said that, let's move on. Now, here we are. This is the course calendar. So the rest of this is essentially what you're going to be required to do each week. So each week, I give you a list of things. So this week, there's 4 things to do. Next week, there's 4 things. Then there's 5. Then there's 4. Okay, so each week, by Friday at midnight, you should have completed whatever's on the week, whatever we have on that week. So this week, okay, learn college essay formatting. Okay, I'm going to show you that in a minute. Learn how to hand in a Blackboard assignment. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Purchase books. Okay, some of us did that. Some of us still need to buy the books. That's okay. Try to buy those books this week. And then read all of the summary documents. All right, so it's time for me to show you the Blackboard page. So let's see here. We're going to go down here, and we're on the Blackboard page again. You can see the Blackboard page, right? Yes? Okay, good. So in the Blackboard page, if you go to homework and assignments, you go over here where it says Essay 1 Project Materials, and that's going to be everything we do. We're going to have 4 essays, right? So everything we do is going to be in one of these folders. And we're going to be working on the first essay for a while, and then when that's done, we're going to be working on the second essay, and so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you in Essay 1, if you go to the Essay 1 Project Materials, there is a pre-formatted Word document. You see that right underneath where it says Lectures for Essay 1 is the second thing. It says pre-formatted Word document. So if you need to take notes, or of course you can always watch this again, but click on that and it's going to bring up this document for you. Okay, I have pre-formatted the document. So this is how every document should be. You should always have a header on the upper left-hand side. And this is for any class that you take in college, unless the professor tells you otherwise. This is the format. So you've got your name, you've got my name. In this class, it'd be Professor Coomer. And then the subject, like for this class, it's English 101. And then the due date, so whenever you're supposed to hand it in by. Then you're always going to title everything you write. So everything you write, you have a title for. And then this is where I kind of marked the place where you should begin the actual essay or the paragraph or whatever it is you're writing. Now, notice I'll say you're supposed to indent every paragraph. That's what I did there. I indented that. So this is a pre-formatted paper. Also, if you press enter a bunch of times, you're going to notice that there is a running header. See that where it says up here, last name 2? So what you're going to do is double click there, and then you're going to put your last name. Make sure the 2 stays there. We don't want the number on the first page. We want them on all the pages after that. Anyway, most of the time I require students to learn this in class, but for you guys this year, I just decided to go ahead and I just made this for you. But this is where everything should be in every essay. And it's got Times New Roman. It's 12-point font. It is 2.0 spacing. Everything looks good on this particular this formatting. So basically, if you use this, you should be just fine in all of your assignments in this class. Okay. If you use a format other than this, I will have to mark off. And the reason for that is, if I say write a 2-page essay, and maybe one person is using 12-point font, maybe the other person's using 16-point font, right? 2 pages doesn't equal 2 pages whenever you have different fonts. So we try to use the same format so that if I say 2 pages, everyone's doing 12-point font, Times New Roman, double space, everything's the same. That's why we have it like this. And that's why it's important that you use this particular file. So what you're going to do is, let's see, we got a quick question here. If you don't have Word, does Google Drive or Google Docs work for the assignments? That's a great question. Okay, so if you have Google Docs, and I know a lot of people use it, it's okay to use that. However, before you hand in the assignment, you will need to save your document in a Word document file or a PDF. It's got to be a Word document or a PDF, or else I can't read it. And if I can't read it, I can't grade it, and I can't sing your praises and give you an A, okay? So make sure it's totally fine to do all your work in Google Docs, but before you hand it in, you cannot hand in a Google Doc. You cannot hand in a Google Doc. You have to hand in a Word document or a PDF. So just make sure to save it like that. And yes, the school does offer Office 365 for free. And if you go to the, yeah, thank you so much for that. If you go to the, let's see, I'll just show you real quick. The main page, whenever you log in, it's here. I forget exactly where it is, but it's on this page that you can sign in, and all the information's there. But I want to make sure I keep this video about Comp 1. Oh boy. Okay, I lost it. All right. Well, let's just go into Comp 1 again. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that pre-formatted Word document, and you're going to, what I'd like to do, I'd like you to introduce yourself to me, okay? So just write 1 paragraph about yourself using that document and hand it in to this. It says paragraph introduction. Okay, it's in the Essay 1 folder. It says paragraph introduction. You click there, and then you browse your computer. This is worth 1 point, right? It's not high stakes, right? So, but it's extra credit. This is actually the only extra credit that you get all semester is this 1 point of extra credit. So use it wisely. All you have to do is hand it in, and you get your point. You browse your computer, find the file. Maybe you're going to hand in a file, whatever. It's for you. It's going to be a Word document or a PDF, and then it's going to show up. You're going to see it under where it says attached files, file name, and then it'll show you. Awesome. Cool. So because I've got that, then I can click submit on the lower right-hand side. And for me, it's not going to work because I'm the teacher and it just doesn't know what to do with this information. But for you, it'll hand that in, and then you'll get your point. So all you have to do is just introduce yourself to me with a paragraph using that pre-formatted document that's in the Essay 1 folder, homework and assignments, Essay 1 project materials, pre-formatted Word document. Use that, introduce yourself, hand it in there, boom. That's half your homework. Half your homework done for the week. The other half of your homework is I want you to go to homework and assignments. And then where it says summary instructions, example, checklist. So every essay we're going to have 2 readings that you're going to have to summarize. So next week, I'm going to show you what those 2 summaries we're going to be over. But all I want you to do is just read all 3 of these documents by Friday. Just read them. That's all you got to do. Summary instructions, example summary, and the summary assignments checklist. That's it. So if you go to our homepage and you go to our announcements, and then you look at things to do by midnight on August 21st, read all the documents in the summary folder, right? We just talked about that. Buy your books if you can. Write an introduction paragraph using the pre-formatted Word document found in Essay 1 folder. Okay, we just went over that. And then hand it in. Hand in the paragraph in the Essay 1 folder. Okay, that's all you got to do this week. Now, there's a couple reasons why I'm so easy on you on the first week. The biggest one right now is that it's all virtual, and I want you to take some time to look over our page, okay? Take some time to look over where everything can be found, because I know it can be, it's not Instagram, guys, it's Blackboard, right? It's hard to figure all this stuff out sometimes. So just take some time to look over it, see where everything is, take a look at the syllabus, familiarize yourself with the class. Every Monday at this time, we're going to have a Zoom call. Now, it's not necessarily going to be a whole long call like this. Most of the time, it's just going to be me telling you, hey guys, this is what you got to do this week. It's just mostly just me checking in with you each week. And then if you need to talk to me, you can talk to me, and we can go from there. But basically, every week, expect a Monday check-in. Any questions on anything we've talked about so far, just go ahead and put it in the chat box. Looks like we may not have any questions, but if you're like me, you remember you have a question as soon as like the classroom's over. So feel free to email me if you have any questions about what we just talked about. Now, between now and Friday, you've got your list of things to do. All right. It's pretty simple, pretty easy, but you can do this. All right. If you have questions for me, or if you'd like to make an appointment to talk to me in my office hours, feel free to email me. Guys, I'm going to be posting this video on our Blackboard page, so that if you miss something, or if you feel like you need to go over it again, if you feel like you'd like me to explain it to you again, anything I've talked about here, you can watch it a million times if you want to. And it's going to be posted in the announcements section. Okay, so make sure to do that. Hey, no worries. Hey guys, you know what? First time, we have an apologies for being late. You know what? It won't be the last time. And hey, I know I'm going to apologize for messing something up on Zoom as well. So I appreciate that. Let's see. So Mondays will be the only class we have during the week. Yeah, that's coming from Chromebook 231D, but I assume that's not your name. But yeah, so so yeah, we will on Mondays, unless I say something otherwise, expect that Mondays we'll do a check-in. Okay. And I'm going to try to just keep it to 1 time a week, so that I give you more room in your life to do all right, Tabitha, thank you. Yeah. I'm going to try to give you more time in your life to dedicate to working on this class. So use this time of day to work on this class if we're not meeting. And of course, if you need to talk to me, you can always email me, or you can always get an appointment with me to meet in my virtual office hours. I'd be happy to do that. So, but yeah, when it comes down to it, since we're not meeting regularly, we're just going to do a Monday check-in, and maybe occasionally we'll do some other day. But what I'm going to try to do is just keep it a Monday check-in, and then we'll go from there. Now it's showing up, Catherine. But All right. Okay, guys, any other questions? Okay, wait a minute. Here we go. So we have to write our paragraph and read for the week. That's it. That's it. You got it. So if you take a look over here in the announcements, read all those documents, right, in the summary folder, and then buy your books if you can, and then use that Word document that I give you to write a paragraph about yourself. Just introduce. I just want to know who you are. You know, you don't have to go into great depth or detail, but you know, just a nice little introduction, and then hand it in. I want to make sure you know how to hand stuff in Blackboard before we get too far in the semester. And that's it. Do I prefer PDF or Word documents? Either is fine. Both of them look exactly the same for me whenever I see them on my end. So it doesn't really matter. Great questions, guys. Any other questions? Let's see. I can't think of any questions right now, but I'll most like. Oh yeah, Pedro, me and you both, man. Every time I leave a classroom or get done talking to someone, they're like, "You sure you don't have any other questions?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure." And then as soon as I walk away, I have a question. So no worries. Go ahead and email me. I'm always happy to come back and return that email. Or if you need to, we can talk face to face if it really gets down to it. All right, guys. So unless you have any other, let's see here. Where do I find the format you made for us? Okay. If you go to homework and assignments, then you go to Essay 1 project materials, and then the second thing on there is the pre-formatted Word document, and you just click there, it'll download for you. Then you write your introduction and you hand it into the paragraph introduction. Yeah, no, hey, no, never be sorry. Never be sorry. I'm so glad you're asking these questions. That's why we're doing the check-in. So guys, if you ever have a question, don't worry about it. You ask it. I'm very happy to respond. And if I can't answer it in class, I'll email you later. And like, especially later on, if it's specific to your situation or your paper or whatever, we can go back and forth with email, or we can do a Zoom conference, just me and you too. But thank you so much for those questions. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close it out unless anybody else has any other questions. I really appreciate you being here. And I look forward to seeing you guys on Monday. And I look forward to reading your introductions. So guys, have a great rest of your week. Enjoy your first week of Vincent's University. Be safe out there. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.